Hello, my name's PJ, and this is an explanation of some of the tech and the current route that we use for the Firmament speedrun. This is for the finish game category, um, where we've basically broken the game entirely. Um, a couple of people have asked for this sort of thing because the tech has kind of evolved really quickly over the weeks since this has released. So I'm going to show you the basics of that. This is accurate as of June 2023. We may find more things that break the game, but yeah, I'll show you I'll go through the run itself and then talk about some of this tech that we use. So first things first, I will show you the settings that we use because some of these are quite important. Um, we use a combination of things here. Um, Quick travel on ladders, that should be turned on. But we actually want hide vehicle transitions to be turned off. That's quite important for this run. In earlier versions of this run, we had vehicle transitions turned off too, but in the current state of it, it's actually really important that we have that turned on. When it comes to graphics and display, I have everything on lowest resolution because my computer is a potato. Um, some people have found that lowering the resolution and uncapping the frame limit actually speeds up loading times. Currently, loading times are a bit of an issue in this until we get a load remover. So your mileage may vary when it comes to loads. Mine are actually really bad. So yeah, just be wary of that. Once we have a load remover, that'll all go away, and you can run it in whatever resolution or quality you want. Apart from that, everything else is normal. The only other thing that we ask is that, where's the setting? That you have dialogue subtitles turned on. This is important for timing verification of the run because we use the subtitles for both the start point, no, for the end point rather. The start point is when you click new game. So with that, let's jump into a run. I have a couple of things up on the screen here that I'll explain as I go, but basically you can ignore those for now. I have a timer up because there is a part which, well, as you can maybe guess from the right hand side, is time sensitive, but I'll explain that as we get there. That's kind of towards the end of the run. Okay, so let's start a new game. So the timing starts as soon as you click OK here. Uh, and interestingly, the first time you load the game, you have a bit of a cutscene. This cutscene is longer than if you start a run from an already loaded uh, game. And also you get a nice white loading screen instead of the usual black one with the black dots here instead of white. So that's fun. There's usually a little bit of a load here. I've found that it is actually faster usually when you um, start a game from a pause menu of a previously loaded game. Um, so yes, just try it out and see what there are. There's no restrictions really on where you start the game from. But anyway, so we load in. The first thing we're going to want to do is hit caps lock. That enables auto run. You'll only need to do that the first time you load the game up. It will remember that you've set that setting um, for carry on. So we start here. The first thing we do is run, pick up the adjunct, and hit escape. That's all we do there. This run uses quite a lot of the teleport to safe spot option. So you're going to want to get used to hitting escape, hitting settings, teleport to safe spot, and click yes. So we do that immediately after picking up the adjunct because that takes us to outside of the bunker. So we don't need to faff around with opening the bunker at all. So once we have the adjunct, the start of the game is really the only normal bit of the run. We raise up this bridge, and then we're going to want to pick up an ice block with the crane and use it as a bridge in that gap, like usual. So basically we run up here. This is why we want the ladder transitions turned off, because you click this and you're instantly at the top. Now to solve this part, it's the usual stuff. We go all the way back. I'm actually positioning myself right at the back here so that I can immediately click on the ladder once I'm done. And once that slows, you can lower it down, and then it goes and does its thing. We're going to stay connected to the socket whilst it lifts up the ice block. And actually you can hold forward here so that as soon as it gets to the top, it will start moving. So you want to move it to about there. I usually count to 3 roughly, and then lower it down. So lowering it, I use a visual cue for this. I will hit my mouse button when the ice block is about there. So you can pause, and that you can pause and have a look at exactly where I put it, but that basically, I try not to run into the rocks, puts it in a position that's pretty good for getting over to the other side. Sometimes it's a bit, I didn't move it quite far enough. Well, I obviously moved it the perfect amount, but you know, if you're unsure, go a little bit further with moving it forward, and then you should be able to run straight across, and then, yeah, lowering it down to the correct position. So that's basically all of the normal part of the run. So the next part is we run up here, open the pod, and we're going to do something a bit weird in here. We're going to go inside and we're going to make a save. So save game 1, we do that straight away. Now this is a section where we're setting up something called skywalking. Skywalking's one of the coolest pieces of tech that we've discovered. It basically lets you float around and walk around to places that you shouldn't be. But in order to do that, we need a save in this pod because we set up the skywalking by going to St. Andrews and then reloading this save. I'll just show you. So we'll begin our transition in the pod. Now with this pod transition, you could wait for the door to open at the other end, and that's, you know, okay, but we found that actually it's faster if you mash escape and teleport to safe spot outside once the pod lands. So I'm mashing escape here. This pod transition doesn't take too long. For me, the one into St. Andrews takes an absolute age, so yeah, there's quite a lot of looking at that door. So I mashed escape to hit that as soon as I could, and then we're outside the pod before it opens. You actually have to wait a little second. That you can't move for just a second once you land after teleporting, but you know, it's still a lot quicker. We're going to do the same at the other end when we go into St. Andrews, which is where we're going next. So we come over to the St. Andrews pod, and we're just going to go ahead and begin the transition to there. As I said, this pod takes absolutely ages for me. It's a lot shorter if you watch, for example, Zoustis's current world record run. It's just to do with PCs and loading times. This is where it's actually loading the realm. And so if your PC is better, it can do that faster. So again, we're going to use the same mash escape and teleport to safe spot as soon as the menu opens. That actually saves a bit of walking in St. Andrews as well. So I'll just start mashing, even though this takes a couple of minutes. Okay, we teleport to safe spot. Now, as you can see, we're actually up in this middle level, so that saves us quite a bit of walking. What we want to do in St. Andrews is come up here, uh, couple this, and this barge thing is really important. This is how we enable skywalking, basically. So the idea is that when you're traveling on a vehicle like this is, um, especially in the up-down direction, if you load another save whilst you're in transition, the height of the player character in that loaded save is fixed. So you can't go up or down, but that means that if you position yourself correctly, you can actually just walk anywhere. You can just walk, well, in the sky. So what we're going to do with this is move it forward twice, and then we're going to raise it because you can't raise it in either of those previous positions. So I'm going to raise it and then hit escape as soon as I do. So E escape. And now I load the saved game that we made in Curryvale. So once this loads up, we will be in a position where we can't actually leave the pod, but that's okay. We're setting up for the final part of the run here, really, which is just, I mean, I don't know how to explain it. We're walking into the void. So we have loaded the first save, sorry, and now we're in a state where we are skywalking. So I'll show you quickly. We can't actually leave this pod. We're stuck here now, but that's good because now we're going to do the second part of the second piece of tech, which is where you glitch yourself out of the pod. So to do this, you need to be trapped in the door of a pod as it's transitioning or transiting. Um, Now, the best setup for this is to hold backwards as the door opens. Go as far back as you can. I can go no further here, and then take a wee step forward and begin the transition. Now, this should get you jammed in the door, as you can see. And doing this, we're going to fall into the void. Now, this part of the run is slightly strange. And Zaustus has found a method for positioning yourself right over the ending point, basically. Now I'm going to try and do it here. So here we've fallen into the void. But because we're skywalking, we're not actually falling. So this is where the thing on the top right hand side comes in. I'm going to hold left for 4 seconds, back for 3 seconds, back and left for 13 seconds, and then I'm going to lift off and just wait for 18 seconds. Then once those 18 seconds have elapsed, I will hold forward and right for 9 seconds, and that should bring us to a stop just about over the ending point in the spaceship. So let's give it a go. The other thing that we need to note here is the save game, the autosave, because when we're in this state of having fallen through the pod, we can't open the menu. See, I'm hitting escape here and nothing's happening. So what we need to do is wait for an autosave to trigger because autosaves still trigger for some reason when you've fallen through a pod. So we wait for an autosave once we're kind of roughly, we think, over the top of the spaceship, and then we Control Alt Delete, not Control Alt Delete, Alt F4, sorry. Um, Alt F4 out of the game, reload that autosave, which then will allow you to just fall into the spaceship and the final part of the run. So let's give it a go. I'm going to start a timer, which for some reason hasn't actually started. There we go. Okay. Right. So I'm going to try and time this correctly. I'll go on 10. 4, back, back and left. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Lift off. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold forward and right. 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I hope that that has worked, and that I should be over the thing. I'm now just waiting for an autosave to trigger, which one has just done. So I Alt F4 out. Um, I'll pause the timer. Alt F4 out, and now that autosave should have me roughly over the top of the spaceship. So let's find out. Let's relaunch the game. Um, so that whole section where you're in the darkness should take around 47-ish seconds of movement in the dark. Here, remember when you launch, you can hit escape during the Unreal logo to skip the cyan logo. So now we load the autosave. Now it's going to look a bit different when we load this up. Um, and I will look down and show you kind of where we're falling. Usually you need to make some adjustment, or at least I do, but you can walk forward, backwards, left, right, whilst you're in the air and falling. So you can kind of position yourself. And don't forget, once you load this autosave, to hit caps lock, because auto run has been turned off on exiting the game. Okay, let's see where we're at, and hopefully I get this right. Okay, now we can see the sails, the solar sails. I'm going to hit run, and it looks like we're pretty good. So we're going to fall through the roof of this, and here we are, the end of the game. Now, this isn't enough to finish the game. We stop the timing once the dialogue, the final piece of dialogue comes up. To trigger that, you need to run towards one or other of these doors. And it's when the futuristic sounding chime comes up that you've finished the run. So there we are. And that is Firmament, any percent, or finish the game percent, whatever. Um, Now, that's the end of the run. I think it would be quite useful to explain a little bit, or at least with some visualization of what is happening where we are in the void. So I'm going to try and do that now. Um, it's going to involve a little bit of setup, but I will cut here and then reload once I'm in a state where uh, I can show you what we're actually doing in that segment. So see you in a sec. Okay, after quite a bit of faffing around with loading saves, etc., I've got us into a state where we can see what's going on in the void after falling through the blackness. Now, I'm gonna have a look around here. So you can see the solar sails, but we're not in the same position as we were. Um, we're actually a little bit away from this spaceship. So the thing is, the timings probably won't work now that I've moved around, so I'm looking in a different direction to what you are when you're falling through. But this is just to really give you an idea of what we're looking at. So basically, the idea with the timings is that we're getting over there. So if I go, I'm just going to walk. No, run, in fact. Run over here. So basically, the 47-ish seconds that we're doing is getting us to a position where you probably saw it earlier, over more or less directly over this spherical front part of the spaceship. So the interesting thing about skywalking is you kind of slide. So that's why we kind of have to do the slowing down uh, part. So it's like back and left for a while, and then forward and right. That's to slow you down, like I've just done there. Um, so yeah, that's just to give you an idea of what's actually happening in the void. Just a little bit at the end of this video to show that. I won't bother falling down there because you've seen that already. But yeah, this is what the void actually looks like. Um, I don't know why it's just void. I guess the assets haven't loaded in for whatever reason, and then when you reload a save, it loads them in for you. But yeah, that's that. So hope that's useful. I hope there are uh, some useful information there. Who knows how long this will be relevant tech? But yeah, if you have any questions, give us a shout on Discord, and I'll leave it there. Cheers.